What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning a video that I have to counterpunch from Blue Blood Sports TV. And I have to counterpunch this topic. It's kind of a touchy topic, but I have to counterpunch it. What motivated me is this video I saw from Blue Blood Sports TV, and it was discussing how Canelo Alvarez will not go against Mikey Garcia in the Earl Spence fight. Neither will Juan Manuel Marquez. And Blue Blood was using that as an example of how Mexicans will stick together with their own, and why can't African Americans do that with their own. Okay. First off, let me separate the difference between those two things right there. Canelo Alvarez and Mikey Garcia. Okay. Sure, they're Mexican. Versus African Americans supporting African Americans. They're countrymen also. They're from the same country. But Canelo Alvarez and Mikey Garcia aren't supporting each other because of an ethnicity. That's where he's failing to realize it's not about an ethnicity. Okay? Because Canelo Alvarez has red hair. He looks like Opie Taylor, for Christ's sake. He doesn't look like Tonto. He doesn't look like an Aztec, okay? But they're from the same country. It has nothing to do with what they look like. And that's what he's trying to imply, which is flawed. Because that's what happens when you build a group of channels only based on race or what you're supposed to look like, okay? Give you an example. He went on to say, well, Anthony Joshua, that's like Anthony Joshua saying he'll never fight another black fighter. Well, there you go. You're talking about, he mentioned African Americans. Don't mention Anthony Joshua and African Americans in the same sentence. Why? Because Anthony Joshua is not African American. He mentioned Adonis Stevenson also. He's not African American. Juan Pascal is not African American. Okay? Because that is showing a group of people of an ethnicity from America. Okay? So he's trying to isolate, and that's the problem with those channels. They try to isolate African Americans by themselves. And that's the problem. That's the big contradiction, because you're trying to use other examples from people from other countries and compare it to your ethnicity, your people in this country versus them. They're not talking about race or ethnicity. They're talking about nation. That's why Loma and Usyk get along so well, right? Because they're from the Ukraine. Okay? Just like, look, let me give you another perfect example. Dmitry Bivol and Sergey Kovalev. They're totally two different looking people. Fucking Bivol is like Asian, like Siberian, Mongol. There's a lot of Mongol blood, Mongolian blood in him. He's like Asian, but they're both from the same country. That's why Bivol said, no, I don't want to fight another Russian. Okay? That had nothing to do with what they looked like. That was their nation they're talking about. Nation, nationality, similarities, not ethnicity. If they were caught up on ethnicity, Bivol would be like, no, I'm only going to support Ruslan Pravandakov because he has Siberian blood. What the hell? You know what I mean? That's the problem. That's an example of someone isolating ethnicity in a nation That's what Blue Blood Sports TV's doing. He should be focused more on Americans. Okay? American meaning Caleb Plant, undefeated fighter, good fighter. He's gonna fight Uzkateki soon. That's supposed to be a good fight. I look forward to that fight. But use that as an example. He's an American, 17-0, 10 knockouts, no losses, no draws. Support that guy. Why? Because that guy is American. No one would, I repeat, no one would give you shit for supporting Caleb Plant. Why? Not because he's white, because he's American. You know what I'm saying? You're not showing you're patriotic. You're showing prejudice because you're worried about not where a person's from, where you're trying to criticize other people that support each other and the reason why they're supporting each other. You're not saying that. You're saying that you're supporting someone because they look like you. Support Broner, stick to your own fighters because they're black fighters. They're black American fighters. Bullshit. You can't get mad at Mayweather, at Andre Ward, at Mike Tyson for not picking Deontay Wilder as the winner. If they thought he lost, he lost. They didn't pick Tyson Fury because he was black. It could have been anybody. That could have been Anthony Joshua in there, right? And he wouldn't have had anything to say because he mentioned Anthony Joshua. So this is an ethnicity thing. This is a black thing. Okay, let's be fair about it. Luis Ortiz, he's black too. Erislandy Lara, he's black. Guillermo Rigondeaux, he's black. Okay? All right, you got to add all these people. Elidor Alvarez, he's black. Because that's basically what you're saying. Anyone that looks like you, that has your same skin color, that you should support by default. Not if his jab can't break wind. Oh, I still support him because he looks the way. No. And that's not why other ethnicities follow other people. To give Blue Blood a perfect example, that's like him supporting Danny Jacobs. Not because he's black, but because he's from New York, Brooklyn, right? That's the perfect example. Nobody would fault him for doing that. But if he says, hey, I'm going to support Jacobs based on how he looks, that's bullshit. People see right through that. That's why people give him and his channel such a hard time. And the people that follow that channel, they think like he does. I'm gonna go with the black fighter just because. Well, when you do that, you're closing your eyes on so many different things. That's where racism and prejudice shit brews from. When you stop looking at the obvious and start looking at some other shit that has nothing to do with anything. Okay? That's the problem. And he wants to bring like bad examples of people not unifying. Okay, fine. Let's do this. Blue Blood. Let's give examples of other people in other nations that are from other nationalities that don't get along. Would that make you feel better? All right, let's do it. First up on the list, Lennox Lewis and Anthony Joshua, both British, both from the UK, right? Lennox Lewis talks shit about Anthony Joshua every chance he gets. You see what I'm saying? Every chance he gets. And what people say from the UK, man, why is he talking about his countrymen? Right? But you haven't heard any of them say, man, why is he talking? Don't you see them two black men? That has nothing to do with it. That has everything to do with nationality and the nation they're from, not what the fuck they look like. Okay? Another example. Erislandy Lara and Sullivan Barrera. Barrera, he can't stand Lara. Because Erislandy Lara and Andre Ward are good friends. And after Barrera lost his first professional defeat by the hands of Andre Ward, Erislandy Lara congratulated him. Way to go, champ. Had a good performance. Sullivan Barrera was pissed. He was like, oh, you the kind of Cubans that make us look bad. What? Because he had an opinion? So you're saying you, Sullivan Barrera, guys like that, so only supposed to support each other just because you look a certain way. And I'm not really convinced that Sullivan attacked him because of that. He attacked Erislandy Lara because Erislandy Lara is from Cuba. Okay? Not because he looked a certain way. It's because they were from the same place and they supposed to, and they came up together and, and you supposed to support me over that because we come from the same nation. Okay? Not from the same skin pigmentation. Okay? So let's stop. Let's stop with all that. You know what I mean? If you're going to support an American fighter, good. I gave you one to support. Support Caleb Plant. You know what I mean? If he's a good enough fighter and he beats all the fighters, don't give excuses when he does. If he gets beat by another fighter, it means the other fighter was better. That's what that means. So we need to get off that. Because it's not all about ethnicity. It's what you can do inside and outside the ring establishes your character. And honestly, people make it kind of hard, but not really. You got guys like that I look up to. I look up to Danny Jacobs. I look up to Canelo Alvarez. I look up to Anthony Joshua. I look up to these guys because these guys are showing, Manny Pacquiao. These guys are showing role models. They're showing the example of how these people do it for their particular ethnicity and how they're supposed to conduct themselves. And that's grand. That's what you're supposed to do. And each of these people I mentioned, they're not from the same place at all. They're from 4 different places. Manny Pacquiao, Danny Jacobs, Canelo Alvarez, and Anthony Joshua. They're all from different places. Okay? But they all represent what they're supposed to from the best of their ability to their own people, which is awesome. And that's what they're supposed to do. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think about this. Had to counterpunch it. Please subscribe. You guys been counterpunched. Peace.